And I call Kanishka Narayan to make his maiden speech.
Diolch yn fawr. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for the privilege of offering my maiden contribution to this House. It is a long list of maiden speeches that I follow, and so I offer perhaps no novelty, but I will take the opportunity of offering familiarity. In this debate on the International Investment Summit, I come with having spent the last decade at the front line of investment, backing the inventors of artificial intelligence, data and wider software businesses across this country and the United States. And therefore, Madam Deputy Speaker, I know the cause with depth and personal experience. In particular, I know that no working-age person in this country has seen a startup go to the FTSE top 10. In the United States, 8 out of 10 have experienced it. In the last decade of innovation, Britons in this country and in the Vale of Glamorgan have been denied the opportunity of shaping their destiny. Decline no more, because I know from speaking to investors, including those of the summit, that they believe what I have known in this Labour government. Change is on the way and has begun. Yeah. My role, Madam Deputy Speaker, has been to put the Vale of Glamorgan front and centre in that wave of change. But I start also in recognising the dual impact that change in this House always has. For every maiden contribution, there is a contribution that has been. In my case, I want to recognise the contribution of my predecessor, the Right Honourable Alan Cairns, Vale of Glamorgan Conservative MP for 14 years. In those 14 years, Alan served our constituency with sincerity. In fact, he was so sincere in it that I remember knocking doors in Cadoxton and Barry with the best constituency Labour Party in the country, only to have my hopes dashed, by a lovely elderly lady who said, "I'm going to be voting for Alan, the best Labour MP this town has ever had." Madam Deputy Speaker, we all carry an inflated sense of our personal vote in this House beyond our political allegiances. But in that moment, I have to say, I felt and I saw one. So I congratulate Alan on his service. I wish him the best in the inevitable duality of change that we share. But I also commit to him some continuity. Continuity in the service that he and his predecessor, the Labour MP John Smith in the Vale, offered to the constituents of the Vale of Glamorgan. Continuity also because the cause of Barry's development that I know Alan initiated will echo for years to come as my top priority too. I offer continuity because, in fact, the Vale of Glamorgan stands out for its continuity. Continuity as the world's centre of education. Madam Deputy Speaker, it was in Lantwood Major, in St Iltyd's Church, that the UK's first college was sited. Not only home to St Iltyd, but also host to St David in the early 6th century. And it was in Cowbridge in 1795 that one of the first Gorsedd of Bards was hosted by Iolo Morgannwg. Since then, a font of appreciation for Welsh language, Welsh literature and Welsh poetry. Continuity not just in education but in energy. Barry, the world's powerhouse, the largest coal exporting port in this country and indeed the world in 1913. In Aberthaw, not just one of the most advanced power plants of its time, but also now the host of my and my constituents' future dreams of a centre of excellence in green energy. And alongside energy and education, continuity as the world's pinnacle of natural beauty, a title I will only share perhaps with my honourable friend from Bangor Abercrombie for our shared Welsh background. Madam Deputy Speaker, my honourable friends from Dorset and Devon might have the Jurassic Coast, but I have to confess that in the Heritage Coast in the Vale of Glamorgan, we have every bit of the beauty, every bit of the history, and perhaps for being a better kept secret, a brighter future too. Finally, continuity not just across education, energy and the beauty that we have, but in the heart and humour of the people of the Vale of Glamorgan. In Barry, the town that hosts Gavin and Stacey. And in particular, the heart and humour of Uncle Bryn, my favourite character, who's driving down the M4 blasting James Blunt songs, has been a personal inspiration to me each time I leave this esteemed chamber for the even more esteemed comfort of Barry Bados. The heart of the community spirit that I have seen across the Vale of Glamorgan. In Big Box Boyd, which is an initiative across schools, started in Barry, now beyond it, making sure that no child goes hungry when they're learning. The real struggle and the fight I see each week in the Vale Domestic Abuse Services in my constituency, fighting against the onslaught of violence against women that we have seen, not just in the Vale, but across this country. And the heart, also, the powerful heart of the voice choirs of Barry, Lantern Major and Cowbridge, who are able to combine the pure heart of a Calon Lan with the deep optimism of the greatest showman in one night. And so I come here with news of the heart and humour of the Vale of Glamorgan, but I come also to report the honest challenges of it. The honest challenge of Barry, where delivering medicines as a volunteer, I learned that the pharmacist was issuing multiples of painkillers per patient compared to the same pharmacist in Cardiff. The honest challenge of our beautiful farmlands, where third and fourth generation farming families are fighting a great but difficult fight against the combined challenges of weather, disease and uncertainty. And the honest challenge of the veterans of the Vale of Glamorgan, who aren't seeking the world, but simply seeking a bit of public service for the exceptional national service they gave us. Madam Deputy Speaker, money doesn't buy most things in life. It doesn't solve most of our problems. But its absence, the deprivation entrenched over the last decade, is the root of many of us. And in particular, it is the cause that has chipped away at the dignity of my community. And that is why I come here with the twin ambitions of greater prosperity and of a deeper bond of dignity in the Vale of Glamorgan and across the UK. I do so not just out of political slogan or political theory, but out of a history of personal gratitude. Because it was 22 years ago, Madam Deputy Speaker, that the Vale of Glamorgan and South Wales, as well as Cardiff, offered a newly arrived set of parents the opportunity of a minimum wage and a night shift to subsidise the sleep of their young boys. In the absence of any holidays, it was Barry Island that first gave those two young boys the opportunity of relief, perhaps even some delight over the weekend. And it was in South Wales, where I grew up with my brother, in the situation of particular economic stress, where you felt still, through the deepest privileges of education, you could go on to advise the Prime Minister in the civil service, to advise FTSE boards across the city, to invest in tomorrow's inventors, and ultimately to stand before you as Wales's first Member of Parliament from an ethnic minority background. When I stand for my twin ambitions of prosperity and dignity for the Vale, I will do so out of that personal history of gratitude. And for as long as I serve as the Vale's voice here in Westminster, I will fight each day for those people of my community. Thank you.